Idang naivedyam Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Namaste. So what am I doing here with all this equipment and paraphernalia and stuff and the statue of Ganesh? I'm offering my food. I don't do it all the time. I don't do it even every day. But if I make some special dish, something very nice, then before I take it, I offer it to God. Why? Because in Bhagavad-gītā, it says that human beings should offer their food to the devas, to the gods. Nourishing each other, there will reign general prosperity for all. Those who eat without offering their food eat only sin. So this offering of sanctified food is called prasadam. Prasadam means mercy. And it's the mercy of God that He accepts our offerings of food and other things like flowers, incense, lamps, and so on. All the 5 elements. So when we offer these things, what we're doing is we are returning them to their source. We're saying, okay, God, you created this nice world for us to live in. You gave us these nice bodies and minds, so that we can pursue our various purposes in life. And so out of gratitude, we are offering them back to you, and we will take the remnants. So this is not unique to Hinduism or Vedic culture. It's also in Christianity, in the communion service, the transubstantiation of the host. It's also, interestingly enough, I was just reading in the I Ching this morning, that the sacrificial offering to God was made and kept in a special vessel called a ting, with these metal loop handles on the side. So if you offer your food to God first, what happens is you're relieved from all sinful activities. Now, this is not just dogma. This is not just philosophy. This is a practice that you can try. You can do it. It doesn't have to be all formal, Oh, sure, the karma yogis have like pages and pages of procedures and prayers and stuff you got to do. But it's really in the intention. You go before God, whether in the form of a statue or in the form of His name or in the form of God within your own heart. And you take a moment of silence to offer the food in thanks. And then you can immediately feel the result if you're sensitive. So this is spiritual nourishment. In other words, our spiritual life isn't just free like the air. It requires nourishment. The body needs nourishment, water, food, air, exercise, medicines sometimes, and certainly sleep, rest, sometimes massage or other cures. Why is that? Because everything in the material world is temporary, and it's basically a fabrication. So you have to maintain it, or it will dissolve. I remember when I was young, I was so much afraid of old age because I saw my parents and other relatives, when they got old, their bodies just fell apart. It was horrible. My uncle in particular, one uncle, was a truck driver. He had been delivering milk for Borden's in New York City ever since they used horse and wagon. the 1890s or something like this. And finally, they wouldn't let him work anymore. They said, you have to retire. But he says, my whole life is my job. I don't know anything outside of my job. They said, well, sorry, it's the law, or it's a rule, or a union regulation, or something like that. You have to retire. So, okay, he retired. He was in great health. I mean, this guy was lifting almost 100-pound milk cans. You ever try to lift a full milk can? It's heavy. It's almost 100 pounds. So he was slinging these things around in and out of a truck all day, every day for his whole life. Then he retired. In a year and a half, he was dead. Why? He wasn't active anymore. He was just sitting around, drinking, smoking, watching TV in his apartment in the Bronx. He didn't last very long. You have to maintain these bodies, and these bodies are maintained through work. Work is basically a sacrifice. You're giving something, some service. Huh? What does it mean when we say someone is devoted? If you say, so-and-so is very devoted to their children, or to their parents, or to society, it means that person is doing service, isn't it? They're working for the benefit of someone else. Now, modern society is based on the false premise that my pleasure, one's own personal pleasure, is the real goal of life. And we all know how that works out. Just read the gossip section in the newspaper and see how all the big movie stars and people like this have alcoholism, drug problems. Poor Prince, one of the best musicians ever, overdosed on fentanyl and died. And I mean, going all the way back to my time, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin. I lived in Janis's house for a while. And these people all were so miserable, even though they had everything material that you could want. Money, fame, popularity, sex, whatever they wanted, basically, they got. They were miserable. Why? Because when you get everything you desire, you find out the horrible truth that getting what you want doesn't make you happy. And since that is the foundation, the basis of the whole society, it's like, now what do I do? If you didn't have any higher knowledge. Higher knowledge says you should serve, you should give, you should work for the benefit of others. That's why I do these videos. Am I getting paid? No. Am I famous? No. Am I popular? Definitely not. But I'm doing the right thing. I'm spreading this spiritual knowledge. And now that I have finally completed the exposition of the system of the esoteric teaching, I can slow down and address some topics of more general spiritual interest because I sense that a lot of my audience isn't getting it. I know it's hard. It was hard for me to learn all this stuff and to practice it. But I had to express it and get it down because even though I spent most of my life as a professional writer, I'm sick of writing. So I made some videos, and going back the last 7 years, you can follow along my path. Now, this is so funny. I'm 71 years old. I'm in perfect health. I'm very happy. I'm enjoying life like anything. I'm not a guru. I'm not even a teacher. I'm just a friend who likes to share the blessings I've been given with others because I know that it helps them, and that makes me happy. So, when I say something, I just discovered that the things that I said on the videos 7 years ago, nobody remembers. See, my mind is very different from most people's minds. My mind is very mathematical. Okay, I was a physics prodigy and a music prodigy. I can remember math formulas and musical compositions and everything like that, very easily. So when I say something, I consider it said, like a mathematical proof. If you say something, you make a statement on the page 1 of a mathematical proof. You don't have to go back from page 17 and say it again. Because you already said it, right? So my mind works the same way. Hey, I said it 7 years ago. Don't you remember? No. I think most of the people in the audience today haven't even watched those old videos. But as far as I'm concerned, if I said it, then I meant it, and unless I have counteracted it or invalidated it since, it still goes. It's still true within its context, of course. We just had a series on the truth about the truth about the truth. And truth can only exist in a context. So the context that we're creating is called the esoteric teaching. And this is to nourish your spiritual development. So I need to say these things over and over and over, because just like you have to eat every day to nourish your body, you have to hear these truths over and over every day to nourish your spiritual path, to develop your spiritual consciousness, and ultimately to attain enlightenment. Okay, I mean, I really just learned this, that other people don't think in the same way. And that if I said something 7 years ago, they don't consider it, to be part of the context. Well, even though it is, as far as I'm concerned. So, I'm going to slow way down and deal with some of the fundamental aspects of spiritual culture, spiritual lifestyle, some of the practices of karma yoga that are very important that you might not be familiar with. And starting with offering the food. I'll show you exactly how to do it, or at least the way I do it anyway, and some other things. And this will help your spiritual practice. This will help your meditation. As I said, karma yoga is the foundation for bhakti. Bhakti and karma are the foundation for Raja Yoga. And all three are the foundation for Jnana Yoga. So, if you're having any trouble in your meditation, it means your foundation is not complete. You have to go back and build it up more. You need more spiritual nourishment. You have to increase the balance in your spiritual bank account so that you can sit down and meditate. Really, meditation is easy. It's because our minds are going in so many directions and we're just so distracted by the stuff that's going on around us. We're all conditioned in school and society with compulsive extroversion. I mean, to the extent that if someone goes into meditation in the middle of a group of people, they'll all start distracting him to get him extroverted again. Hey, what's wrong? Are you asleep? Hey, wake up. People are so weird. They can't tolerate someone who's introverted because they are conditioned to compulsively extrovert. And they do the same to others. So you have to have your spiritual bank account paid up and generating lots of interest. And then meditation is easy. It's so easy, very few people can understand. Om Tat Sat. Om Harihi Om.